Things are amiss at the South Pole. A giant purple hurricane filled with demons is taking over the planet. It looks like a rotating inflatable kiddie pool, chock full of demons to slaughter or recruit. It's your job to investigate and save Earth in Shin Megami Tensei: Strange Journey. I'm pretty sure that's the girl from Front Mission 4, by the way. Those familiar with the series may not find this one strange at all. In fact, compared to some of the other games, it's good straightforward science fiction. This is basically a glorified dungeon crawler adventure RPG style game dripping with that Shin Megami Tensei style. I think it's terrific, and it's got the best packaging artwork I've seen in a long time. The gameplay itself reminds me of some of the older Phantasy Star games, while the presentation on the Nintendo DS reminds me of the excellent Dark Spire, also published by Atlus. Strange Journey is a fun journey. As the story begins, your team is investigating this anomaly in Antarctica. Of course, something goes horribly wrong, your ship is separated from the group, and you've got to take it from there. Eject the warp core. That always works. This is an adventure RPG style game, like a dungeon crawler mixed with the Shin Megami Tensei series. This game is similar to the other games like Devil Survivor and Demon Summoner 2, but also completely different. So on one hand, it's like the exact same formula put on top of a different game. Adventure, demon fusion, lots of fighting, strategy, and a cool storyline. On the other hand, it's got an entirely new storyline which is really cool, one that I think will appeal to fans of other games in the Shin Megami Tensei series. I personally find this one every bit as good as the excellent Devil Survivor on the DS. That was more of a turn-based strategy game, while this one is more of an adventure RPG game, both with really cool stories that grab your attention at the beginning and just give you motivation to play through the entire thing because they're sizable games. Take that, lousy demons. Stupid demons. I went back to the first level so that I could show you some of the early gameplay. What I like about this game, in addition to, well, pretty much everything, is that you start out in Antarctica and quickly find yourself in places that you would not expect to find at the South Pole. The game is played primarily with the D-pad and buttons. The top screen will give you a first-person perspective of where you're going, as well as the battle information during combat. The bottom screen shows you a map. You can slide it around with your stylus. The music in this game is quite interesting. It reminds me of something out of The Shining. You have random enemy encounters as you're wandering around, and let me explain how the combat system works. You can either negotiate with your enemy and try to get them to join you, or you can just go straight old school fighting. You select what each character does, whether they're attacking physically or using magic, healing characters, defending, things like that. One of the key elements in the Shin Megami Tensei series is to collect as many demons as possible through negotiations. You have to select a number of correct answers, and sometimes it makes little sense, but you run into the same guys a couple times and you can figure it out. These demons are on your party, so you can select them during battle. If one of them gets killed off, you can pull up another one. You can also fuse them together to create stronger demons. And that's where the strategy comes in, because you want stronger demons, preferably the same alignment, because they'll sometimes chain attacks together. You want them to have a variety of magic spells so that you're covered with health spells and like you can uncharm yourself. That's one of the most irritating things when the enemies charm you and you start attacking your own party. If you've ever played any standard RPG adventure style game like this, you'll figure it out pretty quickly. The game does give you handy tutorial notes along the way. You can also return to your ship if you need to and restock. While you're on your adventure, you're collecting things called forma and other items from these demons. You can bring those back to your ship and they'll manufacture new weapons and upgrades for you. I found the whole game to be well balanced and definitely entertaining. I like the storyline. Let's take a look at some demon fusion here as I'll be combining two of my demons into one more powerful demon. It's not quite as flashy as it is in Demon Summoner 2 for the PS2. Now that guy looks promising. You earn experience points in each of your battles and level your character up. You have to reach a certain level to actually fuse and create the more powerful demons. Definite motivation to go through a lot of battles. The random, very bizarre looking collection of demons is one of the hallmark traits of the Shin Megami Tensei series. A lot of familiar faces in here. And I could just keep talking about it, but I'd rather play it. Because I dig A Strange Journey on the Nintendo DS. Before Professor Layton was a world-renowned archaeologist, he was a brilliant university professor and puzzle enthusiast. So when a mysterious letter arrives describing a mysterious giant terrorizing the peaceful town of Miss Thallery, the professor and his beautiful assistant race to the town to solve the mystery of the Last Spectre. I'll tell you what, Professor Layton's method of solving problems is a lot different than mine. If I found out there was a giant monster attacking a town, I would just find a way to nuke that thing from orbit. That way you would get rid of the irritating monster and destroy the town, thus leaving room to build a new one, which stimulates the economy. Kill two birds with one stone, or nuclear weapon. Professor Layton, on the other hand, wants to unravel the mystery by solving puzzles. And chugging tea like there's no tomorrow, which there very well may not be if you don't solve the mystery of The Last Spectre.
Quickly, to the window!
What is that thing?
Something that should be destroyed with nukes instead of puzzles, but I'm not a professor. What do I know? Fans of the Professor Layton series should know what to expect here. It's a solid puzzle-solving adventure. And I found this one to be quite enjoyable. I'm not a huge puzzle game kind of guy. Typically flamethrowers and miniguns mounted on trucks solve most problems, but when you're trying to impress a beautiful young lady in a yellow coat, perhaps puzzle solving is the way to go. The tension between these two is unbearable. They just want to get down and just solve some puzzles together. Professor Layton and The Last Spectre is brilliantly well executed. It really is. This is a terrific game that's jam-packed with a wide variety of puzzles. You play the game like an old school RPG adventure by tapping on the screen and indicating what direction you'd like to walk throughout the town and environment. By pointing at the bottom screen with the stylus, you unlock clues and hint coins, and talk to the characters on screen who move the storyline along. Frequently, they'll dish up puzzles that you have to solve. If you're serious about your puzzle solving the puzzles on the first try will award you the most points. If you're a sloppy puzzle solver, like me,
Professor?
you can try as many times as you'd like for less points and use some hint coins. In short, the game is playable and enjoyable by those of any skill level because even if you're not very good at solving puzzles, the hint coins can help out so you can enjoy the storyline, which is pretty good. It just reminds me of a nice old school RPG adventure mixed with puzzles. Some of the puzzles are extremely easy and straightforward, others require some real abstract thinking.
Some puzzles must be met directly.
When you spend your hint coins, you do so one at a time. The first hint is not terribly helpful, and then from there they basically just solve the puzzle for you. Like this one. Just one little hint is all I needed. Hey, it's up to you to make Professor Layton look good and smart, because Emmy's got her eye on him. She should be right up there in the list of top 10 hot video game ladies with Lara Croft, Cortana, Ms. Pac-Man. If you don't believe me, just wait till later in the game when she goes all Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on some bad guys. The art design and music fit the style of the game perfectly. It's quite relaxing and enjoyable. And there were times when I solved a puzzle on the first try that I actually felt pretty good about myself, but it would have still been better just to bomb this thing from orbit. So which of these creepy dolls is the same as the one on the far left? Can the answer be, it doesn't matter?
Some puzzles must be met directly.
Get out of my way and let me fight the Spectre!
I love the thrill of a good...
Later in the game, you spend your picarets on new weapons and armor, like a chainsaw, maybe not. Professor Layton and The Last Spectre also comes with a wide variety of mini-games and an entirely separate RPG adventure called London Life. You know what I like about living in London? Paying $8 for a cup of coffee. Professor Layton and The Last Spectre, a solid game for puzzle-solving adventure fans.
I'll handle this one, Professor.
It's not just a dog, it's Wappy Dog for the Nintendo DS. Wappy Dog is a video game that comes with a plastic dog. But just because it's made of plastic doesn't mean that it can't feel love. It's alive, but unlike real dogs, Wappy Dog is controlled by the Nintendo DS. Play with Wappy! Continue, and let's use the home mode. There's two modes to Wappy Dog, the home mode and travel mode. Home mode works with the Wappy Dog toy, and travel mode allows you to care for and play with Wappy Dog on your Nintendo DS. When using the home mode, Wappy responds to commands that the player gives using the Nintendo DS. That communicates with Wappy Dog by beeping at it, and the Nintendo DS can understand Wappy in return. And the more that you play with Wappy, the more that he learns, until he eventually takes over. Wappy, do you like my cup of coffee? That's a yes. Yeah, we'll ask Wappy, what time is it? It's 13:22. Wappy's on military time. What should I eat? Wappy says, please, no more food, I'm stuffed. Yet I haven't actually fed you in a week. That's the benefit of being plastic. But Classic Game Room, I was thinking about getting a real dog. Is Wappy Dog better? Well, in some areas, yes. Wappy Dog doesn't throw up on the carpet, shed, or require expensive trips to the vet. On the other hand, Wappy Dog can't scare Girl Scouts off your porch. Let's play rock, paper, scissors. Wappy. And scissors. I won! Wappy, you're my best friend. But wait, there's more. You can also take Wappy's heart with you and play with Wappy on your Nintendo DS wherever you go. Feed him, care for him, nurture Wappy, and allow him to grow, like a plastic animal should. Wappy learns new songs, new tricks, and new games, like Apple Catch, Whack-A-Mole, and Global Thermonuclear War. Wappy Dog would make for a fun, entertaining gift for any 5 to 10-year-old. There's loads of easy, colorful games to play, and ways to modify Wappy. He also learns about a dozen songs, and he blinks and makes noises. Kids love that. Here's an example of how you can play with Wappy in the travel mode. You can throw a ball or frisbee or blow bubbles using the Nintendo DS microphone. Very clever. The more that you play with Wappy, the more you unlock new badges, new mini games, new songs. Eventually, he may even chase cats. And do you notice how clean and free of poop this yard is? That's another huge bonus when owning a virtual pet instead of a real one. And how naughty can Wappy really be? He doesn't have teeth, so he can't shred furniture. And as far as I know, he doesn't reproduce. Let's show Wappy how much we love him by saying, Wappy, I love you! Wow. Wappy, breathe fire! Where is that? Is that over here? Wappy Dog is interesting. It's got a lot of features, and it would make a cool gift for your kids. Not so much for a dog, though. I would recommend bacon, or maybe just a squeaky toy. Here's a look at some of the mini games Wappy sits there and plays with you. Clever idea, and far less maintenance than a real dog. It's Wappy Dog for your Nintendo DS. Oh yeah, Metal Slug 7. I'm hard pressed to think of any games on the Nintendo DS that look or sound better than this one. The designers of this game have done an amazing job bringing the larger-than-life Metal Slug 2D side-scrolling action game to the small Nintendo DS screen, while keeping it fun and playable. Absolutely incredible. The only thing that could make it better is playing it on a full-size Neo Geo MVS arcade machine, right? Or the Vectrex. The game is played with the D-pad and the buttons. There's no muddling about trying to use the stylus and touch screen in here. D-pad and buttons are where it's at. Although the bottom screen, which I'm not even bothering to show you, has a sort of map overlay of the environment. It doesn't matter, you'll never look at it because you'll be too mesmerized playing Metal Slug 7. And if you glance away from the screen, even for a split second, or if you blink slowly, you'll die because this game is hard as nails. You can change your weapons using the top right bumper button on your DS. You might notice that when you blow away enemies, you're collecting coins. If you can collect a whole bunch of them quickly in a row, they'll increase in value, and I've seen some people say that Metal Slug 7 is their favorite Metal Slug game. I think that I prefer Metal Slug 2. I have that on the Neo Geo CD, and I know a lot of you like Metal Slug 3 the best. No matter which is your favorite Metal Slug, you should definitely try to play this one. Especially if you're going somewhere, on the go, busy, active, like sitting in a bus station waiting for a bus. Playing Metal Slug 7 makes the most mundane tasks fun and exciting, and extremely explosive. I like that your bullets will tear apart enemy soldiers, but just free the hostages. Your aim is so good, you just shoot the ropes. Each of the characters has slightly different abilities. In this game, I prefer to play as Marco, who's on screen now. He's the most well-rounded and has the strongest pistol. In Metal Slug 2, I prefer to play as Eri. I don't know why. You know, I've got the hots for 2D animated pixelated chicks with guns. That's what it comes down to. I guess when you really get down to it, this is just another Metal Slug action game, but that's like saying Happy Hour is just another Happy Hour. It's a good thing. We could use more Happy Hours and Metal Slug games. And since this is on the Nintendo DS, technically you could just take it to Happy Hour with you, making it Happy Hour 7. This is actually the very first Nintendo DS game that I bought. When I walked out of the store with my DS, I also had Metal Slug 7. I got my DS a lot later than most of you. Previously, my portable game console of choice was the Atari 5200 and 32 feet of extension cable. You whip that thing out at a restaurant and people will notice how cool you are. That just put this vision in my head of trying to play Metal Slug 7 on the Atari 5200 with that horrible controller. Yikes. Don't think of that. Stop. If you're thinking of... Oh, it's too late. Sorry. Now you're scarred for life. This is one of those games that's really difficult to play while filming because I'm leaning over the camera, holding my thumb in a different position. Normally I can get to level 3, so I'm still kind of mastering the end of level 2, which is pretty tough. For me at least, because I suck at side-scrolling shooters. It's a shame that I like them, though. It's like fighting games. I love them, I'm just not that good at them. Oh well, they're fun, and that's what's important. And that's really what the Metal Slug games have always excelled at. Awesome gameplay, over-the-top, ridiculous action and violence, and just outrageous fun. Metal Slug 7 delivers just that on the small Nintendo DS screen, without complicating matters by forcing touch-screen stylus controls upon you. Good old-school side-scrolling 2D button-mashing D-pad wielding action. Normally, when you tell people that a game is a collection of mini-games, they roll their eyes and groan, but when Mario's in it, it suddenly becomes alright. This is Mario Party DS, a 2007 release for the Nintendo DS. The storyline begins as 5 crystals rain from the sky. I guess none of Mario's crew has seen the Andromeda Strain. And of course, Bowser wants these, and he traps Mario and his crew by luring them to a party with free food, and shrinks Mario and his friends. Honey, I Shrunk Nintendo's characters. Now they have to play through 5 different board game-like levels filled with mini-games to do something involving the Sky Crystals and stop Bowser. How much of a plot do you want? It's a collection of mini-games. In general, minigame compilations work pretty well on the Nintendo DS because it's a portable handheld game console and minigames are typically short. Rather than just offering up a bunch of minigames in a menu, Mario Party DS will have you playing through a board game competing against 3 other Mario characters. There's a bit of luck and a bit of skill required to make it through each of the levels. You roll the dice and move around the board collecting coins and stars. At the end of each round, you play a mini-game. Sometimes they're painfully easy, other times you'll find that you're losing all of a sudden. The board game gimmick in this game feels a bit slow, but it would be great for a road trip when you're just looking to kill time. Sitting in the back seat, trying to ignore your siblings or your parents. Come on, we've been there. Or while riding the bus, train, or sitting in an airport. That's where Mario Party DS will shine. It's not the kind of game I could really see myself digging into trying to master these mini games. It's just a time killer and kind of a fun one. Each of the games lasts 10 turns and the goal is to collect the most stars. You can buy stars with your coins. You collect coins while playing and landing on spaces that give you coins. But the game can also take some away from you and you win coins when you win the mini games. Mario Party DS, best game ever made? No, but worth 20 or 30 bucks when sitting in an airport? Most definitely. It's always fun to watch bad things happen to other players, and you can even play wireless DS single card download play with 2 to 4 of your friends. Well, 2 to 4 of your friends, if you include yourself as one of your friends. As you can see, this game is made for the Nintendo DS and works very well with the split-screen display and touch screen. The mini-games are controlled using a combination of the buttons, the stylus, and there's even some that use the microphone. But wait, there's more. You don't have to play the storyline all the time to enjoy the mini-games. You can just play them. I'm not exactly sure how many mini-games there are in Mario Party DS. It seems like there's some unlockable stuff as well. There's definitely a lot of them, and they look and play differently. There's enough variety in this game to make it worth it. You can also choose your opponents and adjust the difficulty. Mario Party DS is a bright, fun, colorful game. It's rated E. It has the kind of quality that you would expect from games in the Mario series. It doesn't require the kind of technical precision and timing that you'll need to get through a Super Mario Bros. Game, but it does have soap surfers and lots of other mini games. It's Mario Party DS. Captain America would be confused and disappointed if he walked into his favorite fast food joint, let's call it Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab, and ordered a fish sandwich only to receive a vanilla milkshake. He'd be like, dude, I ordered a fish sandwich. Why are you giving me a vanilla milkshake? And the people at Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab would say that's how we make a fish sandwich. But I ordered a fish sandwich last week at the Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab down the street and got a fish sandwich. You're giving me a vanilla milkshake. Oh, that Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab has more resources than this one. So their fish sandwich is a completely different fish sandwich. We give you this one, but this is a vanilla milkshake. But we're the cheap Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab. The other one is more expensive. I'm so confused. Why is it called a fish sandwich at both restaurants if it's completely different? Oh, but wait. The Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab the other direction, 2 blocks down, has a fish sandwich that looks like a barbecue spare rib. What? But it has motion controls. Give me a goddamn fish sandwich with consistency. But you don't understand, sir. People order fish sandwiches because it's called a fish sandwich. We just serve them whatever we happen to have laying around that works with this particular restaurant. But I want the best fish sandwich. Then you have to only go to the one restaurant where you get the real fish sandwich. But which one is that? The most expensive Captain America's Fast Foodie Quick and Grab. There's actually 2 of them right next to each other with completely different titles, and food in one does not work in the other. You know what? I'm just gonna go home and play Vectrex. When we speak of Captain America Super Soldier, make sure to follow it with the game console that you're playing it on, because you get a different game depending on which game console you're playing. And Captain America is hardly the first game to try this, but after playing the awesome fish sandwich worthy Captain America Super Soldier on PlayStation 3, it's hard to play this Captain America Super Soldier, which is like a warm vanilla milkshake that's been left out in the sun too long. Even though it's the same game, but it's not the same game. To be honest, Nintendo DS owners have better games to choose from than this. It's another stereotypical, watered-down DS side-scrolling platformer with some action and stealth elements based upon a licensed title. That's what it is. And that's what you should expect with Captain America Super Soldier. On the DS, not the one on the PlayStation 3 or 360, that one is really good. But it's the same game. No, it's not the same game, it just has the exact same title. Well, how about the barbecue spare rib version? I didn't try that one. I'm going to stick with the fish sandwich that I know and love. Do you want to finish this milkshake? Because I don't. Greetings and welcome to Classic Game Room. How about a video game that's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots with giant machine guns and missile launchers? It's Front Mission on the Nintendo DS. It's Front Mission. Big robots, big tactical strategy fun with flamethrowers. Published by Square Enix, this is the 2007 remake of the original 1995 Front Mission, which debuted on the Super Famicom in Japan. Why do they always get the best robots? Well, at least the West gets an excellent version of this game on the DS, which properly utilizes the split-screen displays to show the tactical action and robot combat simultaneously, kind of. It works really well. Front Mission has always been one of my favorite tactical strategy series ever since I played Front Mission 3 for the original run of Classic Game Room back in 2000. I then went on to play Front Mission 4 and most of Front Mission 5 until I got stuck with some translation issues. And yes, it's taken me a while to play this one, but it's totally worth it and makes a great tactical strategy game on the go. It's an excellent DS release. That's pretty straightforward as far as tactical strategy games go. You outfit your robots or Wanzers with weapons and new more powerful body parts like arms and legs and backpacks, and then move against your enemy and destroy them. Pretty simple, really. Compared to the sequels, it's definitely simple. You've really only got a few things to worry about. Blowing up your enemies at a distance and then attacking them up close. Your characters will gain experience as you play through the game, and at some point my main character, who I named Gzolvarz, became so powerful that they would just destroy enemies with one shot. Word up, it's good to see the game translated into English. Now, when does Front Mission 5 come out? With English dialogue in the West. Come on, please. Everybody would prefer that to Front Mission Evolved. One of the simple features that I like about the DS version is the quick save feature, because Front Mission makes a great game on the go. You can play 1 or 2 rounds of the game and then save it and pick it up later. Great for the bus, falling asleep, or in school. Not that you should be doing this in class, kids. It's always a great feeling blowing off the enemy's arms in battle, because they're just left standing there defenseless. And look, this even has a Shining reference. To white man's robot's burden, Lloyd. White man's robot's burden. All work and no play makes Jack a dull Wanzer pilot. Don't let the background deceive you. This does not play on Atari 5200. Who filmed this? Come on. That's misleading. Let's watch as I eliminate this D-bag with one shot. That's the power of Quovzz. Gone, and they get a ton of experience points. Great game, a lot of fun. Once you complete the campaign, there's even some more stuff to do, but I'll let you find out for yourself because I'll recommend the game for you tactical strategy fans. Although Front Mission actually holds its value. But it's worth it. It'll take you a long time to play, and with that quick save feature you can enjoy it anytime, anywhere. Although to be honest, I found the storyline somewhat dull. Not nearly as exciting as Front Mission 3, that's still my favorite in the series. This one has something to do with the OCU and Huffman Island, but I viewed it as more of a bar crawl with robots. Every place on this island seems to have a bar. May as well visit them all. It's Front Mission! Don't forget to bring along some health kits or fixer packs or whatever the hell they're called. Repair kits. That's what they are. Robots. I haven't played them yet, but I've also got Front Mission the First, which is, I think, another version of this game released for the Japanese PlayStation, and Front Mission 2 also for the Japanese PlayStation. So prepare for more robots fronting missions. But those aren't translated. This one is. Front Mission. Somebody charge that DS and play some more Front Mission. What? I can't end on a shot where someone misses. How about this? It's Front Mission. Highly recommended. Cooking Mama 3, the tradition of food and video games, continues. And what I like about this game is that you're not just making simple recipes like spaghetti, hamburgers, grilled cheese. Mama is cooking sushi and all kinds of other weird-ass foods. Instead of calling this game Cooking Mama 3 Shop and Chop, which makes very little sense, they should have called it Cooking Mama 3 Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom Special Edition, where Mama cooks a plate of centipedes and chilled monkey brains. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is disembowel some shrimp. This actually isn't very disgusting. In fact, this is how you cook shrimp. And it's clearly aimed at a younger audience if you have kids that do want to learn to cook. Shrimp is an excellent food, nutritious, delicious, and when you're watching football, you need some shrimp cocktail. And you do rip off their little legs, preferably making screaming sounds while you do it, and that dark vein thing is their shrimp poop. Let's season the shrimp and then go through the process of deep frying it. The whole Mama series of games is quite entertaining, and they're very well made. They're a perfect match for the Nintendo DS because they're just made to work with the Nintendo DS stylus. Some games on the DS feel gimmicky when they try to shove the touchscreen controls upon you, but not this one. The designers also do a nice job utilizing the split-screen Nintendo DS design. Look how cool this is, teaching kids how to deep fry. Important skills that will help you through your entire life. The next thing they need to do is grilling Mama, where Mama grills up some beer can chicken and an entire stack of ribs. They could expand on this series, like Mama goes out into the wilderness to shoot down some buffalo with a bow and arrow, drag it back and throw it on the grill. Cooking Mama the Pioneer Edition. And of course there could be a whole spin-off series, similar to Gardening Mama, which I reviewed earlier in the year. We could have Brewing Mama, where Mama learns to brew different kinds of beers, because there's many out there. Ales, lagers, Belgian-style wheat beer, German Hefeweizen. How about an IPA? Mama could start her own brewery and come up with sleazy marketing tactics like dry beer and ice beer. I could just see the game where you boil water, add hops, malted barley. It would be educational because you kill bacteria when you boil the water, so it's safe to drink. That's how it kept the ancients alive. Let's get back to this game, one that actually exists. In addition to using the stylus for much of the cooking in Cooking Mama 3, during some of the recipes, the player must blow into the microphone on the Nintendo DS. Very clever. Hey, let's gut a fish. This is like a finishing move in Gears of War, when you curb stomp one of the enemies and then cut them in half with a chainsaw. In this game, it's educational. And rainbow trout are delicious. They taste much better than the locust horde. If you ask me, I find Mama to be a lot more interesting and entertaining than any so-called celebrity chef. I hate fabricated celebrities. Star chef! Look, she's a star because we've bought our own commercial time because nobody else would pay money for it. Another thing they should do with the Cooking Mama series, because eventually they're going to run out of food. She's already cooking squid in this one. I'm not sure what else she could make. Squirrel kebabs or something. They should have guest appearances from other video game stars, like Cooking Mama with Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario and Luigi. It could be funny, like Cooking Mama thinks she's going to make octopus only to realize that it's an end boss battle with one of the characters from Metal Gear Solid 4. In addition to the cooking, Cooking Mama 3 has a strange shopping mini-game. You can also dress up Mama in different outfits and have a cooking competition against a friend. The other stuff in the game feels like it was just tacked on to have more menu items. The heart of the game and the best part of Cooking Mama 3 is the cooking. You're basically being timed and scored for your skill, your cooking skills. I can't believe she's cooking a sea urchin. Do people actually eat those things? That looks utterly repulsive in every single way. That looks like a bad guy in a Godzilla movie. Cooking Mama 3 is very similar to the other games in the series. It is a well-made game, easy to find out there. They have numerous Cooking Mama games. They're good, light-hearted fun. So I enjoyed Cooking Mama 3. It's fun for the humans. not so much for the animals that you're cooking.
Wow, even better than Mama.
You beat them down. This is Tokyo Beatdown for the Nintendo DS, and this game is a masterpiece. I'm not even going to be sarcastic for this review because there's enough sarcasm in this game to spread around. It's not an in-your-face, trying to be funny, desperately throwing swear words at you, hoping for a cheap laugh. Tokyo Beatdown just gets it. Tokyo Beatdown is well written, it's smart, it's got a wonderful dry, sarcastic sense of humor. It's a spoof of an early 90s, like 1991 or 1992 side-scrolling arcade beat-em-up, mixed with Lethal Weapon or late 80s and early 90s buddy cop films. The main character is a total spoof of Martin Riggs from the Lethal Weapon series, Mel Gibson's character. And the writers of this game simply get it. They get the humor, they get this style. It's hilarious. I probably only care about the main characters and storyline in 5% of the games that I play. And I play a lot of games. Writing is usually not the strength of video games. In Tokyo Beatdown, writing and gameplay are excellent. Although I think writing takes the edge. The writing in this game is brilliant. Everything from the cutscenes to the sound effects to the dialogue, the cliched side-scrolling backgrounds and enemy characters that you're fighting, the fact that the game makes fun of itself for being a game making fun of itself is ingenious. This is one of my favorite games in the last year or two. It's that good. I think this game is hysterical. This is a tough game to play while filming, though. The Nintendo DS is always challenging to film when you need to get at every button on the game system. If you've ever played a Streets of Rage game, you'll pick this one right up. You punch, you kick, you can grab people and then throw them. You can draw your weapon and fire at them. Then you have a couple special moves where you can spin in the air and do a few things. So they're not advancing gameplay beyond Streets of Rage or that side-scrolling style in any way. And for this game, I think that's a good thing. Most of the footage we're watching is from the beginning of the game. I'm more than halfway through the game at this point, and it doesn't really change gameplay styles all that much. You beat people up and then you run into some pseudo-end bosses. And if this game relied only on fighting, I would say it gets a bit repetitive, but I found myself spending an equal amount of time reading the dialogue and following the plot as I was actually playing the game. So I think that the whole thing gels together very well, and because of the quality of the writing and the cutscenes, the potentially repetitive gameplay does not actually seem overly repetitive. Honestly, you just gotta buy this game and see for yourself. I don't think you'll be disappointed in any way. You sort of figure out the gameplay in some cheap moves, like when you grab people, nobody else can punch you or shoot you. So when you're fighting this guy with a rocket launcher in like the end of level 3 or something. If you get hit with the rocket, you lose, but I found that just grabbing him as fast as I could and then throwing him at the other characters on the screen, because when you pick up people, not only can they not hit you, but then you can throw them and use them as weapons, which is also a handy trick. Not only do you play as the awesome Lewis Cannon, who is my favorite video game character since Isaac from Dead Space, but you also play as a couple other characters in the game. What this game reminds me of is the film What's Up, Tiger Lily, which was written by Woody Allen, where he redubbed a Japanese spy film into English, completely changing the storyline and turning it into a hilarious spoof of a spy film where they're searching for the world's best egg salad recipe. This game seems like that. It's as if they took a mediocre side-scrolling beat-em-up, redubbed the dialogue into something outrageous, and turned it into one of the greatest video games ever. Maybe that is what they did. I don't know. It feels like that, but when you look at the game itself, it's technically a modern release. I mean, it looks good, it plays well. And I'll end the review there. If you're feeling a shortage of awesome side-scrolling beat-em-ups in your life and want to see an example of actual quality writing instead of just ripping off the movie Aliens for the 5,000th time, check out Tokyo Beatdown and prepare to become a Lewis Cannon fan. One of the greatest problems with air travel these days is the airlines are starting to charge you to check in your bags, your luggage. So naturally everybody just tries to carry everything on with them now for free. But what do you do if you have 100 classic books that you like to travel with? Because they're big and they're really hard to pack into 2 quote-unquote carry-ons. Complete pain in the ass. Well, leave it to Nintendo and HarperCollins to deliver the goods, allowing you to give the airlines the finger carrying on 100 books hidden secretly in your Nintendo DS. 100 classic books! I'm already waiting for the sequel. 101 classic books. The Time Machine! They made a movie about this book. In fact, they've made movies on just about every book in this game. Is this really a game? It's more like a collection, really. You can learn something, though. You can learn about the authors, you can learn about the books, and nothing says, I'm a hardcore gamer, like carrying around Jane Austen in your pocket. Mr. Darcy Pones. I live in Bath, I'm not married, society is out to get me, blah blah blah. Okay, there's the book. Let's move on. This works well enough you can turn the pages with the Nintendo DS stylus or use the D-pad. As you can see here, there's a library of 100 books that you can scroll through. Not 99, not 101, but 100 classic books. I think that each time you open a book, it should go, oh yeah! And they should have music. I love the smell of video games in the morning. They should really make a movie based on Heart of Darkness. Something with surfing and helicopters. The books in this game are well out of copyright, so technically you could actually just download all of them for free to your laptop. However, having them on your Nintendo DS is convenient if you're traveling somewhere and have your Nintendo DS with you, instead of a laptop or iPad or 100 actual full-size books. But credit where credit is due. They've done a nice job with it, organizing it. I like that you can scroll through the bookshelf with your DS stylus, and it even gives you the opportunity to put bookmarks into the book that you're reading. Hey, that's a nice touch, considering some of these are quite long, like War and Peace. If you can get through War and Peace on an airplane, then you are the master of reading. The books enclosed are, as you can see, the classics, some Shakespeare, Lewis Carroll, Mary Shelley, no Dan Brown, no Stephen King, no trendy teenage vampires. The classics. This does not have multiplayer deathmatch, but it does have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. 100 Classic Books has 100 books that are classics, many of which are excellent reads. So if you're taking a trip and you refuse to leave your DS at home because you'll be playing Mario Kart the entire time on the beach, take a break and read a book. But not a real book, because they get soggy if you spill your margarita on them. How about some Jules Verne in addition to Mario? Very few people can dress like Austin Powers and get away with it, and even fewer still can pull it off at the workplace. Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth is one of those individuals. He's a smooth cat who knows what he's doing in the courtroom and at the crime scene. Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth. The Ace Attorney series has been around for a while, and they rely on style to move the story along rather than just bombarding the player with gruesome details. This is an investigation puzzle game where you have to use logic, reasoning, and your investigative skills to solve crimes. Miles Edgeworth finds himself the suspect in a murder case in this game. This is a well-made game on the Nintendo DS from Capcom that makes good use of the lower DS touch screen. Most of the action takes place on the top screen, and you use the stylus to make selections, rotate objects, and piece together whatever crime it is Miles Edgeworth is trying to solve while dressed like an 1890s pimp. What his coat needs is more sequins. Sequins make the man. He should know that. What we're looking at here is the beginning of the game. The classic GameRoom.com website will have a lengthier review of this, going into more detail. This game has more than 15 hours of gameplay. What I'm doing here is showing you the basics, how the game is played, and what it looks like. It's a very intuitive game once you start playing it, and does challenge you a bit to piece together information into a credible argument. As he is an attorney, his job is to argue and drain his clients of their money so that he can buy fancier sport coats and go golfing for months on end. Instead of trying to outwit each other, these two need to get into a dance-off. Instead of dancing, what I'm going to do is present some evidence that I've collected and prove that this guy's story is full of holes. I'm very distracted by the fact this guy is wearing driving gloves, wristbands, some kind of a headband, a pink polo shirt, and disco medallion. He should be brought to justice by the Fashion Police.
Objection!
Also known as Miles Edgeworth. This just wouldn't be complete without a rocking tune in the background. I like the game's style. In a way, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a whodunit game, it's a crime scene investigation game, it's a puzzle game, it's a game where you have to win arguments, presented in a more colorful, upbeat style than all the darker stuff they have on television these days. This is more Magnum P.I. and less CSI. I didn't even mean for that to rhyme. His pink jacket just brings out the best in me. Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, looks nice on the small screens of the Nintendo DS. High contrast visuals, very easy to read writing. It's a good looking game, but I can't tell what his sport coat is made of. He seems like the kind of guy that could pull off a velour suit. Conclusion, Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth is a game that seamlessly blends crime scene investigation, puzzle solving, and courtroom-style arguments in one stylish package. What this guy really needs to complete the look is a Magnum P.I.-style mustache. See, just the thought of that drives the girls wild. Nothing says competent attorney like a velour-wearing mustachioed man named Miles Edgeworth. Welcome to Moshi Monsters Moshling Zoo for the Nintendo DS, and for starters I have to admit I misread the title of this game. I thought it was Moshi Monsters Mosh Pit Zoo, and the object was to collect monsters and then play Nirvana really loud and mosh because they have no rhythm. But no, that's not the object of this game. The object is to collect monsters and then feed them, and quiz them, and care for them. Very different from throwing them into a mosh pit. Or a blender. Hey look, it's a unicorn! But you can't just add it to your collection, even though this is published by Activision. It's not one of the Cabela's games. You have to solve puzzles and lure the monster into your collection, tricking them, deceiving them, lying to the monsters. Oh, they think they're going to get pudding with sprinkles on top, but they're not. They're going to get a cage. After searching high and low, I found this bird's encyclopedias or something, and now it's willing to join my zoo. Where it will have a safe, happy existence, there will be no experimenting. None. None whatsoever. Rage virus? What's that? You search these candy drop, bubblegum kind of landscapes and find the monsters, but each of them will require something different to lure them into your zoo. You'll collect diamonds along the way that you can use to buy accessories. You'll need to fix things here and there, like a hammock, rocking chair, or you'll have to get some food and entice the monsters to join your collection. Coolio, what's up? Here's an example where I found a cute, adorable moshling hiding in the shrubberies. But in order to coerce it into my zoo, I have to fix its hammock. According to the packaging, there's 52 wild and wacky moshlings to collect. And then you can visit them in captivity and play with them or clean them or feed them junk food until they explode. Here's the feeding portion of the game where the moshlings will place an order, and then it's up to you to assemble the bizarre food-like substance and feed it to them. Say, the moshlings keep disappearing, but more food keeps arriving. How's that work? Is that a green brick of food-like subs? Wait a second. Soylent Green is moshling! There's also a cleaning mini-game, and you can go through the entire game show where you compete against other moshlings. This is obviously a game aimed at a younger audience. I'm slightly out of the demographic for this one, and I'm not entirely sure I understand this game, to be honest. It's a combination of a monster collection game and a puzzle game. But once you've collected all these monsters, it's really unclear what you're supposed to do with them. You keep them in captivity, you force them to go through races and solve math quizzes. That's even low by Roman standards. I think your objective is to eventually get all 52 and then breed them into a super moshling that takes over the world. What's for lunch? It's Thursday. Why is it always green on Thursday? And where did the ponies go? It's Moshi Monsters Moshling Mosh Pit Moshing Zoo. If you're looking for a quirky kids game for the DS, I'll really recommend Activision's own Wappy Dog over this one. Light up plastic dog that barks at you? Awesome! Moshlings... Is it Thursday? Secret instructions. Feed the pony, magic sparkles, and fairy dust. Nobody loves an underfed pony. So, how many Kirbys does it take to screw in a light bulb? According to this game, 10. 9 to screw in the light bulb, and 1 to get crushed under something while you're not looking. It's Kirby Mass Attack, a game that could have easily been called Kirby, the Pink Swarm. Because that's what you do to enemies in this game. You swarm them with Kirbys. They're like the Flood from Halo, except really cute. In a market oversaturated with shooters, it's fun to find a game that is absolutely delightful. Not a word I use very often on here, at least not sarcastically. This game is great. A round of applause for HAL Laboratories and Nintendo for bringing us an adventure game that works well when played with the Nintendo DS stylus. There's no button control in this game. You do everything with the touch screen. A 2D side-scrolling platforming style adventure with touch screen controls, controlling up to 10 Kirbys at once. It sounds awful, but it works brilliantly. So here's the deal. At the beginning of the game, Kirby is broken into 10 pieces, 10 little Kirbys. And you start playing with one of them, eventually earning additional Kirbys as you defeat monsters and make your way through the game, until you reach a maximum of 10 Kirbys on screen at once. An angry mob that you use to defeat enemies by flinging Kirbys at them until they're destroyed. To control the mob of Kirbys, you tap on the screen, which makes a little star, and that's where Kirbys will go. You can also fling them at enemies or breakable objects. And when you have 10 of them, you'll find yourself rapid-fire flinging Kirbys. Collecting fruit scores points and gets you additional pink friends. If you already have 10 of them, each time you max out the bar on the top screen, you'll score an additional 10,000 points. And you can move all of them at once by holding the stylus down over the Kirbys and sort of engulfing them in a balloon. This isn't a standard 2D side-scroller. It doesn't have crushing difficulty that tests your reflexes. Kirby Mass Attack is a casual adventure, one that will have you playing levels over and over again because it's fun, also because you will occasionally lose Kirbys. When they're injured, they turn blue, and then you can lose them altogether, in which case they try to float off the screen, but you can catch them. You may find that you lose half of your Kirbys all at once and need to play an earlier level to regain them. Also, there's numerous coins hidden throughout the game that you'll want to find to unlock the wealth of minigame content in Kirby Mass Attack. So many games that it effectively doubles the size of this. There's hidden areas found throughout the game, and as you can see, it's bright and colorful, and it makes great use of the split-screen Nintendo DS display. Hopefully you've spotted the coins that I'm collecting. There's one in this caterpillar that I'm about to miss. You'll definitely want those coins to unlock cool things like the Kirby Music Player, so you can enjoy the awesome music in this game. You also unlock new songs. Kirby Mass Attack is not your typical Kirby adventure. In fact, it's not a typical anything. It's quite clever, I think. And while I've played numerous games that use the Nintendo DS touchscreen and stylus, I can't recall very many action games which work nearly as well as this one. The unlockables range from simple things like the music player and this Kirby version of Whack-A-Mole to more elaborate Kirby mini-games, some of which will surprise you. One of my favorites is this Kirby version of Pinball, which just a few years ago would have been sold as its own game. It's Kirby Mass Attack, a game for those of you that enjoy fun, creative platformers, and pinball on your Nintendo DS.
Banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I have a game featuring everyone's favorite video game killing machine, Dig Dug, who not only eliminates bad guys with a bike pump, but he drowns them as well in Dig Dug Digging Strike for the DS. How much dig could a Dig Dug dig if a Dig Dug could dig? Dig Dug. Try saying that 5 times fast. Try saying that at all. It hurts the brain. Fortunately, this game does not, and I've played many a retro reimagining that does. This is Dig Dug Digging Strike for the Nintendo DS, released in 2005. It's a game that brilliantly uses the Nintendo DS split-screen layout. It's quite clever, in fact. This is like a mixture of Dig Dug and its sequel, Dig Dug 2. Into the drink with you. That's how it's done. You play a hypercharged version of Dig Dug on the bottom screen while attempting to sink giant monsters on the top screen by driving spikes into the ground and drowning them. Which is pretty cruel, actually. But Dig Dug has always been a cruel, violent video game, if you think about it. He kills enemies with a bike pump, and now he drowns them. He's an asshole. But we love him. And he even has a name in this game, but I've already forgotten it. I just call him Dig Dug. And if you love Dig Dug, I think you'll like this version of Dig Dug because it's not more of the same, but it's also not trying to do something stupid like move Dig Dug into 3D. They've just somehow lovingly intertwined 2 versions of Dig Dug on the DS and managed to make it really kick ass. I'm always ready for more Dig Dug. You know it. Taking inspiration from Dig Dug 2, you can battle monsters on the top level, or, more importantly, dive down those holes and try to drive the spikes into the ground to break off chunks of the island and drown the end boss, or monster, whatever it is. There's a wide variety of ways to score points. You can try to sink every little part of the island and kill everything for big points, or just go straight for the end boss. The more traditional Dig Dug gameplay on the bottom screen has lots of new things and new enemies, as you can see. And I think that's super cool. They really haven't destroyed or messed with the Dig Dug formula very much. They've just added a whole lot of additional stuff to watch out for, and it makes the game pretty tough after about level 7 or 8. There's a lot of power-ups, including power-ups that you use on the top screen to affect the direction of the pegs or try to stun the monster, making them easier to sink into the ocean. Dig Dug Digging Strike also seems to take some inspiration from the Super Mario Bros. Games. And as you can see and hear, there's many nods to other popular Namco games like Xevious, where you're trying to bomb the monster and stun them for easier drowning. You can score 1-ups or 3-ups playing roulette after each round, and you can go back to earlier levels and play them to try to achieve a higher score and also collect some extra Dig Dugs. There's a number of different Dig Dug levels, like this one where you can be drowned. There's others where Dig Dug will get lit on fire, killed by lava, eaten by monsters. You know, the usual hazards of dugging digs. The game looks good on Nintendo DS, it plays well, and I like the cheerful, uplifting Dig Dug music. Oh, just missed him.
I like pretty much everything about this game. If I want to go back and play old school Dig Dug, there's
You got lucky.
many different ways to do that. If I want to try a new take on Dig Dug, well, Dig Dug Digging Strike strikes back. That was cheesy.
Now is the time on Classic Game Room, where I give a shout out and thank you to Brett from Pleasant View, Tennessee, for sending Dig Dug Digging Strike to the show. Thank you, Brett. This game is great, and hopefully some of you who may have missed this when it was new will find it in your collection soon, because I think you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun and very well made. I didn't get into it for this review, but there's even a 2-player versus mode with wireless DS multi-cart play. Dig Dug Digging Strike. This one comes highly recommended. Yeah! Dig Dug digs and kills without mercy, because that's how Dig Dug rolls.
It's time to swap jewels with other jewels in Bejeweled 3 from PopCap for the Nintendo DS. I previously reviewed this game for the PC, and I'm kind of a big fan of PopCap games and Bejeweled 3. Let's check out how the DS version works, and it works well. Obviously, you don't get the same kind of audio and video quality that you'll get on the PC version of Bejeweled 3, but it's good enough. Provided that you can spot the difference between colors, you're in good shape. If for some reason you've never played a Bejeweled game, they're very easy to pick up and play, but difficult to master. You swap jewels to line them up in rows of 3 or more of the same color, vertically or horizontally, which scores points. You get additional points for scoring combos and chain reactions. Lining up 4 or 5 will give you special items that explode or clear out lots of jewels. Bejeweled 3 comes with a variety of different gameplay modes. This is the classic mode, which is your basic old school Bejeweled style gameplay. Swap jewels in lengthy games where you score points, and you can pause your game and pick it up later. I always feel dumb editing Bejeweled reviews because I spot all of the combinations I could have played but didn't while I'm sitting here editing. But it still worked out. Hooray! Let's take a look at the lightning mode, which is one of my favorites, adding the pressure of time into the gameplay. You can extend the time by swapping the time jewel pieces. If you do well enough, there's also unlockable modes like Poker, Ice Storm, and Diamond Mine. Bejeweled 3 is infinitely enjoyable, and this is one I could see them putting into 3D for the 3DS. Not a whole lot of motion, so it might add some depth to the gameplay. As you can see from the review, you operate the game by swapping the jewels using the Nintendo DS stylus and touch screen. It works great. These kinds of games were made for touch screens. Why, I'll bet this would even play well on the Vectrex. PopCap, if you're listening. Here's a look at the poker gameplay mode, where you're trying to line up the jewels as if they were cards. Pretty clever, I like this one too. I mean, I pretty much like everything about this game, but it's Bejeweled 3, what's not to like? Here's the Ice Storm mode of gameplay. As you can see, they take something simple and just keep expanding on it. Innovating new and creative ways to enjoy Bejeweled. It's fun, it's addictive, it's colorful, it's got great music, it keeps track of your high scores. It's Bejeweled 3 for the Nintendo DS.
Quest completed.
If you like cake, raise your hand. I'm raising my hand. But you there, in the shirt, is your hand raised? It better be. Cake Mania 3 is in effect. If you're a diehard fan of Modern Warfare 2, then, well, you probably want to pass on this game. But if you're looking to buy your son or daughter a video game, which is a cute, catchy pick-up-and-play kind of game, then Cake Mania 3, published by Majesco, should be on your list. They also publish the excellent Cooking Mama series. Casual games, lots of kids' games. It's a big market, and Cake Mania 3 is here to deliver a giant whoop-ass of cake mastery onto that market. So we've got a story, something about a wedding, time travel, I don't know. I immediately stopped paying attention and went right to the gameplay, which is very similar to numerous other games that I've seen lately, like Burger Island on the Wii or Turbo Subs on the iPod. This is one of those games where you prepare food for customers as fast as possible and upgrade your kitchen along the way, or in this case, it's a bakery. So let's take a quick look here at Cake Mania 3, which I am sad to say does not have a single flamethrower upgrade available for the bakery. Apparently the French don't know anything about American-style baking. Let me show you how this is done. Where's the microwave? Customers arrive at the counter. They're obnoxious. Rather than bouncing them out of your restaurant, you serve them. Because in the end, you want to take their money. It's a recession after all. This is capitalism, and she's an entrepreneur. Hey, it's a blue Pac-Man. The game is played using the stylus on the lower Nintendo DS touchscreen. The top screen will show you some visuals of who's waiting at the counter, give you some more information up there. This is a pretty common style of gameplay, and one that's actually always fun. It's hard to screw this kind of game up. Clearly aimed at kids, girls in particular, who play video games just like us boys. I just don't understand why they're being denied flamethrowers. That's discrimination. Probably for ratings reasons. This game is rated E for everyone. On the top right, that's the oven, and you can actually buy another oven, and you can buy a whole bunch of stuff to fill the counter space on the right. We're looking at one of the earlier levels here. Customers will demand a certain shape of cake and then in a color, so you put the icing on it. The icing on the cake, so to speak. I like icing on cakes. Then you serve them, collect the money. You have to achieve a certain amount of money to actually complete the level, and then you can spend the money on buying things to upgrade your kitchen. A fun, casual game, so if your kids would like this, now you know. Cake Mania 3 drops a nuclear bomb of cake making on the competition, and the fallout is good, clean fun. Take that, Cooking Mama. You and your fancy cooking. Cooking ain't baking, lady. Devil Survivor Overclocked is a slightly enhanced, remastered version of the original Devil Survivor, an awesome turn-based strategy game which was released for the Nintendo DS in 2009, published by Atlus. It's part of the Shin Megami Tensei series, so fans of Persona and other demon-summoning, devil-surviving, slaughtering games should be familiar with the formula. You battle enemies, but instead of outfitting your team with weapons, armor, and magic spells, you fight your battles with demons that you purchase and eventually fuse together to create more powerful demons with a variety of different attacks and skills. That's much of what makes the Shin Megami Tensei series great, because they act a lot like magic in video games, except they're demons, and they have crazy names and it's kinda cool. The Shin Megami Tensei series is also known for having intriguing storylines, and Devil Survivor has one of the most straightforward and immediately enjoyable ones, as your team of teenagers is trapped within Tokyo as the entire city is locked down after strange events and demon attacks. Mayhem, chaos, and mystery break out as the team uses what appears to be modified Nintendo DS game consoles to purchase, control, and fuse the demons together to fight their battles for them, and survive the outbreak or lockdown or whatever it is. Without giving away too much, it's a fun adventure, although the characters are fairly two-dimensional. And speaking of two dimensions, that's pretty much what you get with the Nintendo 3DS release of Devil Survivor Overclocked. Even though this is a remastered re-release of Devil Survivor, only 1% of the game is actually in 3D. The overwhelming majority of gameplay and cutscenes take place on the lower screen. So if you've played the original, not a whole lot has changed. There has been character dialogue recorded and added.
I'm thirsty.
Let's see if there's a park nearby. Man, I'm really tired.
Even if there's a blackout.
But is it worth listening to? Don't get me wrong, Devil Survivor Overclocked is an awesome game, and your decisions affect the outcome of the game. There's multiple endings. I had a lot of fun playing this for a second time. What baffles me is why the action was not moved onto the top screen, which is a larger screen with a widescreen aspect ratio that's better looking than the lower screen, and makes for a more comfortable gameplay experience on the 3DS.
Already. I'm telling you, I'll be fine.
I see. Well, I'll leave you be for today. But
It should be noted that even on the lower screen, the game does look better, and the audio quality is dramatically improved, because the 3DS just does a much better job than the DS did. As you have probably noticed during this review, most of the character information and menu options are displayed on the top screen, which makes them easy to read. When you fuse demons together, you'll enjoy a brief moment of 3D, but in addition to the intro, that's about it, as far as the 3D effect goes. Which is kind of surprising, because the 3D effect goes a long way in turn-based strategy games, because there's not a lot of movement, and it can be used to just make the game look slightly more interesting. Even though this is a good-looking game on its own, it would have been nice to see the gameplay and playing fields with the 3D effect providing more depth, like they did in Ghost Recon Shadow Wars, where the 3D effect was used nicely. But admittedly, I always end up turning it off after a while anyway. Basically, I just like the top screen better.
Still have to go and see.
All that being said, Devil Survivor Overclocked is a terrific turn-based strategy game and an excellent entry in the already amazing Shin Megami Tensei series. But even with voice acting and the addition of an 8th chapter epilogue, which is new, I'm not sure there's enough here to warrant a repurchase if you already have the original Devil Survivor, unless you're a huge fan that wants the new 8th Day stuff and voice dialogue. Now, if you haven't played it and think this looks cool, it is. It's a great game where you'll spend a lot of enjoyable time learning to fuse demons together and battling them while leveling your characters up to create new demons. It's an awesome experience. So, without ending on a down note, I will recommend either Devil Survivor for the Nintendo DS or Devil Survivor Overclocked for the 3DS.
Why didn't I heal her either? I shouldn't have relied on...
Black Sigil, Blade of the Exiled. What tension, the strength of this game, is in the storyline. It feels like a really old school Nintendo Entertainment System role-playing game, which is not a bad thing. It's got that top-down, small characters. You explore the outside world and then walk through towns and talk to people. Let's watch a scene of dramatic tension with very small characters. But I don't have magic! I can't even do simple card tricks. I'm making light of it, but it's actually a really nice story in this game. I just, whenever I see that much tension being acted out by small little characters, like 8-bit looking characters, it loses some of the effect, but actually you really get into the story and like the characters of this game. Let me read the introduction from the manual. In the world of Bellanora, where everybody wields magic, Kairu, who is your character, is the adopted son of Duke Avery, the only man without magical powers. Kairu, that is, not Duke Avery. A cloud of suspicion hangs over him as others remember another magicless man, Vi, the general who betrayed Bellanora years ago in the war against the evil curse bringers. You immediately empathize with your main character as everybody is a complete jerk to him because he doesn't have magic. Seriously, the abuse that this kid puts up with is incredible. These ignorant jackasses that surround him aren't even worth protecting. But he must have a good heart. You see, you just want to punch these people right in the nose or at least cut their head off. The scene at the beginning of the review that I showed you is the Duke, his father, he adopted him, locking him in a cave because he does not have magic and he's upsetting everybody else. Now, that's parenting. Let's move on to the gameplay. As you can see, this is a very straightforward, old-school style role-playing adventure game. There's an overall mission and storyline. There's side quests. You have lots of random enemy encounters, earn experience points and money with which you can buy armor and weapons, potions, and that kind of stuff. If you like the old-school style role-playing games, the old Phantasy Star games and Zelda and whatnot, you'll probably enjoy the overall gameplay and mechanics of Black Sigil. Blade of the Exiled. The game doesn't have quite the flair and polish of some of the other games like this that have come out recently. It definitely seems more true to the old-school 8-bit style. As I said, I find the strength in this game to be in the storyline. As you wander around, you run into random encounters everywhere. It seems like there's just too many of them. It's like if you want to cross from one side of the screen to the other, you run into 3 random enemy encounters. Now, you can run away from them by holding down the B button, but that still takes precious time.
As you may note from the menus, you can attack people with a standard attack, or you have all these combos and various other things that you can use. And as you play through the game, you of course learn all kinds of new tricks and skills and combos. And get other people to join your party, starting off with your sister, who accompanies you on your journey. It takes a little while to get used to their backgrounds. They're very flat. It's not apparent at times where you're supposed to go. 3D objects frequently get lost in the background. So there's actually steps in that one shot, but it took me a little while to even find them. The more you play the game, the more you get used to the art design and what the designers are doing. But initially, when you start walking through the cities, you realize there's places you can go that you never even suspected, just because it's not entirely clear what's a part of the screen that you can walk into, if that makes any sense. It's a creative game and has an imaginative environment and storyline. I like the story quite a bit, and the packaging says there's more than 30 hours of gameplay, hundreds of weapons, and hundreds of pieces of armor and all that kind of stuff. So there's lots to keep you busy here if you like the old school style role-playing games. It has some shortcomings, but on the other hand, it's kind of its charm too, that really old school 8-bit style that it does well. If you want to take a role-playing fantasy adventure on the go, Black Sigil Blade of the Exiled for the Nintendo DS is one to look at. Gravedigger! This is Monster Jam Path of Destruction for the Nintendo DS. I've previously reviewed this game for the Wii. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's also on Xbox 360, PS3, and PSP. And nobody expects the DS version to be the best when it's on all of the game consoles, but look what you get with the limited edition DS version. A Gravedigger action figure thing built out of Kinects. Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with this. So while I'm assembling Gravedigger, let's watch a review of the DS version, and then it's time to review Gravedigger, built out of Kinects. Boy, I hope the next DS has better audio, or maybe it's just the game. Well, the gameplay works just as expected, like a condensed version of its big brothers on the other game consoles. This thing is like a wounded animal with wheels, flailing about in anger. It's so cute when it's on the small DS screen, like you could stomp on it, just to put it out of its misery. But why would you want to do that? The game is fun. Like I said in the Wii review, Monster Jam Path of Destruction is a competent cross between Tony Hawk Pro Skater and a racing game. I mean, don't go into this expecting, groundbreaking controls or gameplay. You're just smashing things with monster trucks and racing them. It delivers that. And it has a competent career mode where you gain experience points, unlock real-life monster trucks, new venues, races, and the ability to create your own monster truck, which is what I'm going to do. But instead of naming it something silly like Gravedigger, I'm going to name it something serious like Pimp Star, where the S in star is a $sign. Which technically doesn't even make an S sound, so I suppose it would be Pimp Dollar Tar. Regardless of the name, we have to give it a color. How about pink? And how about some sweet decals to make it go faster? Because that's what sweet decals do. Did you know that you can buy M&Ms while waiting in line at Advance Auto Parts? I mean, talk about a one-stop shop. You can get lunch and an oil filter all under one roof. Monster Jam Path of Destruction has a variety of racing events as well as freestyle competitions, arena events, and truck customization. Controls on the DS are predictably clumsy, but they work well enough to get the truck around the track and smash things. Hours of fun for fans of monster trucks. Just don't name yours Pimp Dollar Tar, because that name is taken. Gravedigger, built out of K'NEX. This looks pretty fun. Let's review the K'NEX Gravedigger. Crunch. Vroom. That's how they make new monster trucks. There you have it. Monster Jam, Path of Destruction for the Nintendo DS. That comes with Gravedigger, which comes with a mind of his own. Man, that robot just got its ass kicked by a girl. There's actually a lot of that going on in this game. If you like some TNA with your Japanese-style role-playing adventure game, here's one for you. Super Robot Taisen OG Saga Endless Frontier. OG. Is that OG or is that 06? You know, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. If we take a look at the box, it has a teen rating for alcohol reference, fantasy, violence, mild language, partial nudity, and suggestive themes. All good things. Embark on the adventure of a lifetime across the endless frontier as Haken Browning, professional relic hunter and amateur ladies' man. There is plenty to uncover with your crew of women, werewomen, machine women, and demon women as you learn the secrets behind a war that threatens the multiverse. That's a lot of women. Which really sounds cooler than it is because, you know, in the end, they're just going to be fighting over shoes. The written dialogue in the game is pretty funny, and the spoken dialogue at times is all in Japanese, which totally blends with the style of the game. I think you can see right away where this one's going. It's a very tongue-in-cheek, massive RPG-style adventure game. The animation quality is extremely high, the art direction is excellent, and while I'm not really into the new style Japanese anime, this game works pretty well because it's so over the top that in addition to a very complex, well-made adventure game, it's just kind of fun and entertaining. If you're looking for a deep game, this is not it, but if you're looking for a cool adventure and lots of cartoon chicks falling out of their dresses, here you go. The game is played with the buttons on the Nintendo DS. You do not use the stylus, which I like for a game like this. It's very easy to sail through all the commands and go through the battles just by hammering away at the buttons. The top screen is where the action unfolds. The bottom screen shows you your party statistics and character level and all that stuff. Super Robot Taisen OG Saga Endless Frontier has an above-average complexity regarding the mechanics of the gameplay, but once you figure it out, it works very well, and the battles in particular are fun to watch and easy to play. Not that they're easy to win, though. Some of the combat is very difficult, and you do have to use some strategy and various magic spells and skills.
Last showdown. これで決着だ。俺の曲打ち見ていきなよ。こっちもどうだい。ふっとね。オーケー、いい位置だ。アディオス。何事もスマートにな。
And unlike most of the RPG-style games on the DS, you do not save anywhere that you'd like in this game. There's save points at the beginning of dungeons or spaceships or whatever, and you may play for 20, 30, or 40 minutes between save points. So just keep that in mind. If you play for 30 minutes and then don't pay attention to some of your characters or run out of health points and die, you are set back 30 minutes. It appears to be a massive game here in the multiverse, with various worlds and environments to explore. You run into random boss encounters as you're walking around. It has a familiar top-down perspective that always reminds me of the old Phantasy Star games on the Sega Genesis. After you win these random encounters, you win gold and experience points. You can go to the store, buy yourself weapons and armor. We've seen this kind of game before. It's done very well. The menu structure seems to be familiar and intuitive, easy to get around and equip things. And I like the art design. I really think this is a very clever, creative, well-designed game. The music gets a bit irritating after a while, but it's one of those games you can just turn off the music and easily play it without any sound. You don't need to have any audio cues to know what to do. It's all pretty much visual. Pardon me if I butcher any pronunciation, but this is produced by Banpresto. I think that's how you say it. And there are numerous other Super Robot Taisen games, Super Robot Wars. I'm not familiar with this series, but I've gotten a lot of requests to review the game and see how it plays. If I had more time, I could easily get sucked into this one for a couple weeks. After I finish the Dark Spire, of course. There's room for up to 8 people in your party, and most of what we're watching is fairly early in the game. There's additional stuff in the combat that I'm not even showing you, where you can call in other teammates to help with chain combos and stuff. It's a very complicated game, and they pack a lot in here to keep you busy for quite some time. It's a good buy for the money if you like this style of game. Yet another excellent adventure game published by Atlus, who's constantly bringing us cool games from various developers. If you have a lot of time to spend on one game, this is a cool one to look at. Now let's watch what happens during a battle when I'm not concentrating because I'm filming, and see if my characters all get wiped out. you have what it takes to enter and survive the Dark Spire. If you enjoyed role-playing games in the 80s, this game is for you. It's awesome. Everything about this game oozes with brilliance, just like a monster living in a dungeon, which is where you spend the majority of your time in this game, crawling through dungeons, through the Dark Spire. It's such a throwback to the old school role-playing games where you create a character, assemble your party, level your characters up, and go and attack monsters with axes and bows and arrows, and use magic spells, and it's funny. This is published by Atlus, the same people we have to thank for publishing the amazing Tokyo Beatdown for the Nintendo DS. While I normally spend more time playing arcade-style games, driving games, or shooters, I love role-playing games. And when I was a kid, I'm an only child, and back in the 80s, I spent a lot of time playing RPGs on the computer. I remember that old monochromatic computer monitor style, and the color palette in this game is reminiscent of those really old computer screens. The Dark Spire is not just for those of us who played role-playing games in the 80s and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. This game should appeal to anybody who wants to play an adventure role-playing game, because it eliminates all the BS and gets straight to the point. For starters, the art direction in this game is terrific. It relies on that old-school comic book and Dungeons and Dragons style, so there's no needlessly silly, ludicrous, played-out, childish anime characters in here. There's no overly complicated leveling up system or ridiculous story which has been lost in translation from its original Japanese. There's not a bunch of jackasses that you have to deal with online. This is straightforward attack goblins and win chests of gold, use the gold to buy things like better armor, and then go attack stronger goblins and scoundrels. I love the fact that some of the bad guys are called scoundrels. I haven't seen that word used with such force since The Empire Strikes Back, and it's great to see scoundrels in full effect. Do I even need to mention that the music is awesome? Because it is. If the late 80s are not old school enough for you, don't worry, there's a classic mode which throws it back even further. For fans of time-killing, life-sucking role-playing games, this one is huge. I'm probably 12 or 13 hours into the game and I've barely scratched the surface. I've covered about 3 levels, and it takes a long time to get your guys built up to where they can really withstand a fight. What I like most about the Dark Spire is not just the style and the fact that these designers took a chance to make a game like this, and have done a tremendous job. I like that this game allows you to use your imagination, just like the old video games did. Everything now focuses on graphics and online gameplay. The Dark Spire focuses on storytelling and dungeon-slaying action that takes place in your imagination, because there's no complicated cinematics in this game. When you encounter an evil party of mushrooms that are trying to kill you, the camera doesn't spin around your party 6 times And magic spells take place with words instead of 45 seconds of repetitive movie-like cutscenes trying to repeatedly show how big the giant blue fireball with dragon wings really is. It all takes place in your head, using your imagination. I like that, and I miss that about these old games. Back before they were able to dazzle everybody with cinematics. I have my party assembled, and in my mind I've envisioned them. My thief is named Bolfar. He looks like a 1970s undercover cop in my head. My most powerful character, who's at the front of my party. You can choose how you want your party to go through the dungeons, in what formation. I have one guy in front and then 3 in the back row. Wind Squid is my strongest member. He's my warrior dwarf, who looks like any kind of cartoon dwarf from the 1980s in my head. I have a mage that's an elf who uses magic for attack purposes. That's Truxton. And then Death Trex is my priest. In my head, he's like a robotic sorcerer that has Death Trex written out in gangster lettering on his chest. That's my party that wanders the dungeons. Scoundrels, beware. The action unfolds through text on screen, most of which is written in a very tongue-in-cheek manner that's somewhat sarcastic but always excellent. Ooh, I've encountered something. You play the game using your D-pad and buttons. This game does not use the stylus. It works really well. You can go through all the commands at lightning speed, and saving the game takes about a second, so it's really rapid fire for those of us without patience, keeping in mind that the game itself will take you quite some time. I have no idea how large this is, but given that I've played as long as I have and my character, my strongest character has about 40 hit points, and there's 4 digits available for hit points, I figure I could play this game for a long time. The Dark Spire is amazing. Buy this game so you give them more money so that they make more. We need more games like this. And earlier when I encountered the Maiden, I tried to use all these different things I'd collected in the dungeons and through the Dark Spire, like a necklace and some scrap metal, and I couldn't figure out what to do. And it was not until I was editing this review that I read everything again, and it occurred to me I should actually try using a healing potion on her, which I'll show you how that unfolds through the classic mode. Buy this game.